the session. We should start the session. Okay, fine. So now we are going to discuss another most important concept of any programming languages, that is the function. And Python also support the creation of the function. Okay, so what is function? Function is basically a self-contained program which can perform some particular task. For a particular task, we can able to create one of the self-independent program which can do a specific task, and that tasks which are going to be performed by using a particular set of code that can be reused again and again whenever we want to perform the same task repeatedly. This function which has been a block of code that can be used so that any complex problem can be split into the smaller sub problems in such a way that whatever the smaller sub problem which was generated, if that we are able to uh, solve in the easiest way, that we should going to be convert in a self-contained small program, and then those small program can be combined together to create a complex problem to be solved. So this function, if you are going to be see the definition in terms of programming languages. So function is basically created to perform a specialized task, and those functions will be basically a named independent section of code that can perform a specialized specific task, and it also optionally return a value to the program which is going to be used or call that particular function. So functions should have a name. It should be the independent code which are designed to make a specific work to be performed, as well as it is also going to be return some value. It means that the function which we are going to create uh, that are not going to be nested in any other construct. Okay, but if you want, we can allow the a function to be defined within the another function. It means a nested function call could be allowed there. That can be possible there. But every function should be standalone, which does not going to be nested with any other construct. Say if you are going to be write a for loop, within the for loop, you can't able to use the function as one of the construct into that. Okay, so we'll talk about what are the different type of functions which are available in the Python. So there are two type of category of functions are exist in the Python language. One is known as the built-in type of function, which is basically some standard functions which are implemented as a standard library that can be freely available for anyone to be used to do some tasks through the use of those defined functions. For example, we have been used the length, which is going to be tell you the length of maybe any tuple or any object, or we can able to use the print to display the content on the screen. We can able to use the range. We have been used the constructor list. We have been used the constructor tuple. So all these are going to become the ready-made, freely available functions within the Python library. Other than these existing functions, we can also create our own customized function based on our needs. So today in this current session, I will discuss that how we can create our own functions which are going to fulfill the requirement of our problem. So generally, we should look at the available built-in function and what are those and why we are going to use for that one. For example, we have if some built-in functions are there, and if you want to check what are those functions which are available in the Python, we can able to display that one. Say this is the we can able to use the import built-ins dir built-ins. Okay, directive built-ins. This can able to give me the list of all the functions which are available within the Python, which we can able to use for our program. Or we can able to display that list of function using this print dir built-ins. Okay, this is the dir built-ins. No need of using any kind of uh, import library. Okay, so here it is just a print dir built-ins. This is basically this is the two underscore. Okay, this is the two underscore which are going to come if you are going to type it. So this is giving the list of different uh, built-in functions which are available there. You can see the complex, you have the input, we have also, you can see here, you have the print also here. Okay, this is the print which are available. Sum is available, dictionary dict is available there. So many built-in functions we can able to know in our versions of the Python, which we can use for different purpose. Okay. So if you are going to look at the built-in, few of the built-in functions are there. So you can see here, we have one of the function all. This all function which are built in, they can able to return uh, true if all the element in a particular list is uh, going to become true. Then we can get outcome of this all function as a true. So this will say that all the element within this iterable uh, collection of items are going to become true. Then we can get a true. In case this list or maybe iterable item in which we want to check whether all the elements are true or not, depending on that we can get either true or false. Suppose we are going to be right here instead of 3 is there. Also we have been added one value say 0 and other value say -3. And if you are going to be display this one, we are getting false. It means all the element in this collection is not going to become true. Then this all will going to return me the false. As we know that 0 in the Python will be assumed as a false. So that's why we are getting here as a false. If we are going to be remove this 0, now we are getting the -3, 4, 3, 2, 1 in the list we have. Now any number other than 0 will be assumed to be true in terms of the Python. So this is going to return the true. Similarly, if you want to be uh, look in case of the list, it is an empty list. So that is also going to be give you the true because it empty list is also going to be assumed to be contain the all the value which are going to be assumed to be true. Similarly, we can able to use the division mode where we can able to divide 9 by 2. It is just one kind of modulus operator which are going to be give me the uh, exactly the quotient and the remainder. So here you can see if you are going to be use the divide mode function where 9 is going to be divided by 2 and the quotient and the remainder is going to be returned to be as a 4 and 1. If I'm going to be try here 20 say 6 and here if it will be written as a 7. Okay. Now you can see we are getting here to be outcome which are going to be come to be as a this is going to come to be as a 41. Okay. So that is the only one value are going to be displayed here. Now let us take it separate code. Now you can see we are getting the 3 and 5. Or we can able to use the sum function which are built in to find out the sum of all the items in any collection of items. Now here we can use the sum. How? In this sum function we can able to give any collection of items which is going to be iterable. So we have been given the list of item and this is going to be called over the sum and it is going to return me the sum of that number. Or in case we want to write here maybe as a some list I'm going to be give instead of list I'm going to give any set. Suppose set 24 3 1 minus 6, and then if I can give this set in the sum, this will return me the addition of summation of all the item in the set. Now you can get here to be same as 20. Now another version of this sum is we have some iterable item you have to give as a argument, as well as we have to give some start value. This start value say that we should add that starting value within the sum of all the items which are available into the list or into the collection. So it will going to be take this starting value. Within that value, they are going to be add all the remaining items which are available into the collection. Now here you can see we have 93251 minus 9. With this collection, we got the 11. Okay, to this previous summation. So this will going to be add with this start value 9 with all the items which are available into this particular list. So now we are going to be get the sum to be as a 20. If we are going to be write it as a minus 2 start value, it means this is going to be computed like a minus 2 plus the remaining value from this particular list 3 plus and so on up to the 1 plus minus 9. So this overall sum is going to be written from the sum function. Similarly, we can able to use to find out the minimum of minimum value from a collection of item. Suppose this number was taken from this, we want to find out what is the minimum and maximum. We can use the min number, max number. They are going to be return me the minimum and maximum. Okay. Now here, whatever the output I am getting, that is not properly formatted. If you want to be display this outcome in the appropriate formatted manner, we can print this number as a minimum m comma maximum l. Now if we are going to execute it, we are getting it to be clearly proper format of output saying that which one is the minimum, which one is the maximum. But if we want much more better format for this output, we suppose we want to display this outcome in the format that what are those numbers from which it is going to become minimum or maximum. So we want to display along with this min max also the number which are exist, this list which are exist. That we can do with the help of the format function, dot format function. So how we can write? Let us check it. Yesterday we already discussed about the format. Format is going to become basically having the syntax of string, some string. Okay. String means there should be some kind of text. You can say any string or text, and then dot format. And here we are going to give the some parameter. Okay, that parameters are going to be given. So here we are writing as a what are the string we want to print. String going to be take. String is that in a given list, in a given list of number. What is that list of number? We want to be display here the list. We can use the curly braces as a placeholder, comma, has min value What is that mean value? For that we can use the curly braces and also and max value, and here we want to display the maximum value which you are going to get it. Okay, so this is the format we wanted to display as the outcome. So we are going to be written this text. Within this text where that variable are going to be displayed, that position was marked by the curly braces, whereas with this text we want to use the dot format method, and here whatever the value we want to be displayed into these curly braces placeholder, that we have to specify. We want first to be displayed the list. That list is nothing but it is a numbers. We can write the variable as a numbers. Second, we want the mean value, so we can give the m. Okay. Third, we interested to display the l. Now if you can display it, now you can see the outcome which are going to be. Now you can see is a format in string. This in the given list number has minimum form string format. So there is some space issue is coming there. Format dot number having this error, key error. It means some variable is not found. That is some space is coming somewhere. In given number that can give the error. So now let us already I typed this just to demonstrate you. I'll check it later on what is the issue with this code. Now here you can check the same thing I written in a given number, minimum is and maximum is. Format numbers ML. If I'm going to be display this one, now you can see. Now this is the more proper, better formatted output we are getting. In a given number, at this place, the first variable numbers is going to be displayed. Minimum is at this place the second variable in the order. Max the third variable which are given in the format method. Okay. In case I can able to change this number to become at the last, suppose. In that case, what will happen? The first should be come to the first curly braces, second should be at the second place curly braces placeholder, third will be at the last one. So now the output is going to come something different way. Okay. So you can able to use this formatted output for better representation of the outcome of any of the output. Okay. Now we can also use the sorted method to get a sorted list of item from the iterable collection of item. Already we have been used the sorted. So here you can use the sorted, give the some list. Then we can get a item to be sorted in the increasing or decreasing order. We want to make it to be in the decreasing order. That's why we have been given the reverse as a true. So this will going to be sort that item into a decreasing order. In case you want to make it into the increasing order, in that case this second parameter, that is the reverse, does not require. Only you have to give the number which you want to sort. In that case, by default it is going to be sorted into the descending order, increasing order, sorry, increasing order, and reverse was true, it means it will be the descending order. So by default it was increasing. If you want into the descending order, you have to make this reverse field flag to be given into the sorted. Even though if you want, sorted can be applicable to the dictionary also. This is the dictionary. What we will get if you are going to be apply sorted function over the dictionary? This dictionary are going to be sorted based on the key. and the outcome which are coming, that is the only the key values, only key. So now you can see we have been applied this one sorted over the dictionary. Then these key are 22, 33, 44, 55. Only key value are taken from this dictionary, and that will be going to be shown into a decreasing order. Okay. Now you can see that how this uh, sorted function can work with the list as well as the dictionary. Similarly, you can able to use the reverse to make any number to be reversed. Here you can see reverse function was used in build, which are going to reverse a number. Okay. Another important ready-made function which are available is the enumerated method, which are going to be give you the enumeration of the object. It means it will going to give you the index of that particular collection along with which of the value is available at which of the uh, place. So one kind of enumeration are going to be created. So that after enumeration, you can able to refer those individual items through that particular index. So here you can we have the enumeration. We have X as a collection of tuple. Now we are going to be create one of the, because this tuple in this tuple we are going to create as a enumerate. So what will happen that this X is going to be given some uh, numbers as a index starting from 0. So apple will be given once this X will be enumerated. In that case, this apple should be get a index as a 0, banana will be 1, and cherry should be considered to be as a 2. And after then this enumeration, this enumerate will going to be return you the list of object. It means it will be coming as a list. So here you can see whatever this y is coming, we want to display that one. So we have been converted this into the list. Here if you want to print y, suppose we are going to be get some. It means it is saying that y is going to become an enumerated object. Because this number is enumerated. Okay, number is given there, and now it has been enumerated. And if you want to find out that every number has been given which of the index as a enumerated index, that you can able to find out with the help of for loop, where whatever the enumeration we are doing over the number, here in the enumeration we can also give one of the value which can say that from which of the index this numbering of this collection of items should going to be start. Suppose here we have been given in this case, say this is a number 10. Okay, enumerate number 10, right? Or you can leave this number 10, don't give it. If you are going to be run this one, okay. Now what we want to see that after this enumeration was happened to the number, and from this what should be the different index are given for these number 30 to 10. So now we are going to be displayed format index num, and every number was given two value. One is the value itself, second is the index for that value within this collection. So index is coming for this 32 as a 0, for 10 it will be 1, for 20 it will be the 2, and the number will be 32. So here you can get index 0 has value 32, 1 has 10, 2 enumeration have 20, 3 have 30. If you want to start instead of index 0 enumeration from 0, we can also able to change that one with any new number. Suppose we are going to be give it to be as a from say 10. So now here you can see instead of by default it is going to be started from index 10, indexing starting from indexing 10. For each of this item to enumerate, we are going to get this as a from 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. Or even though we can able to give here as a say minus 15, that can be given. So this is going to start from minus 15 to onward. Okay. So that is the use of enumeration which can be used there. Okay. So this is the different type of built-in function which are available, and we can able to explore those functions which are readily available in the Python, and we can use for different purposes. Now let us come to another concept of defining our own function. To define our own function, we are required a keyword def, that is for the definition. This function should be defined, which is known as the user defined function. The format is that we have to use the keyword def, and then we have to give the function name, and this function can take argument, so you have to give the argument in the bracket with the colon, and this function is supposed to perform some set of tasks. That set of tasks is basically written some set of Python code, and this function should going to be return some value to the calling program, so we can use the keyword return. It is going to return some value, so we can use the any expression. It can be value or anything. It is going to return one or more value that can be possible with the function. So this is the format by which we can define our own function so that it can able to perform the desired functionality as per our requirement. Now here you can see the example. We can define one our function how, say display name. So def function name is say display name, and we can write here some parameter we are passing, okay, colon, and then we can write here the doc is string, where you can able to give the different uh, statement we can write, which are going to be specify basically what this program does. So some kind of detail about this function we can write by using the function doc string. So suppose this is function is to display name of a person that was designed. Okay. So that you can write as a doc string. So some of the detail about the detailed information about the function we can write here as a doc string. And after that the any Python statement we can write here. So now we are writing here one statement as a print. What I want to print? I want to print the name. So I can write that my name is, what is that name? For that the argument we are giving here in the through this variable name, I can write here the name. So now this is the function which was defined by the programmer, by me. Now this function does not going to return, so this does not contain any return statement, return keyword. Okay. Suppose we want to call this function. How this function should be called? So one function we define as a display name, taking one argument name. If the name of this function is display name, and this contain only single statement. My name is str name. Okay, this str function I use. One is the ready-made function to convert this name into the string. Although it is not required here because name we are giving in term of the string because it is a name. But if you want, we can use also the function here as any of the built-in function. Okay. If you don't want, we can use only the name, and using plus it is going to be concatenate basically with this my name, and this string name is going to be concatenated because with the string we can able to use the plus to concatenate two string. Now this function was defined. If you want to call this function, use this function, we should going to be call this function by using the name of function. So name of function was display, and it is taking some argument. It is taking one argument name. So I can give here the name as a Tendulkar. Okay. So what it does, once this display is called, the control will go to the display code, and here they are going to be execute each of the statement one by one, and here the print is written my name is name. So they are going to print here, my name is Tendulkar. And after then, this display function was completed. Then they are going to come to the main program, and that program is going to be print the program terminate outside the function. Okay. So this is the way how we can create a function and how we can able to use the function. Now we can create another function, say add. Now you can see this is the add. Let's check different function. So here you can see this is the print name was used. Print name, the function print the name. Okay. Now this function I am calling using as a print name Tendulkar. This is the name of print. Instead of using the print statement, I'm calling this function print name and giving the name as a Tendulkar. Now this is going to display me the name as Tendulkar. If I want, I can use the same function to call again and again to display some name. Now I will return the Python programming. Now this is going to be make my name is Python programming. So this is the beauty of function. We can create the function once. If required, you can use the function again and again without rewriting the same code repeatedly. Now let us create another function to add two numbers. So how we are going to create? We are creating a def keyword is going to be used. Name of function is, suppose here I am using the capital add variable, say a comma b. Okay, two here I am using the two parameter a comma b. If you want, you can use the three parameter a, b, comma c. It does not matter. Okay, so two parameter was used. Now this function we are going to defining, and this function should contain set of tasks. That set of statement should be written as a indentation from the keyword def. So this was written as a indentation statement. So here some doc string was used. This function is used to some two number. Okay, or I can also write function requires two argument. It means we can write the detail about the function using the doc string. Okay, and then what we want to do, we are going to be find out the summation of a and b. Okay, so we can write a plus b, and that result is going to be stored into the sum, and then we are writing to print the sum of two number as a sum. So number is printing by this function itself, adding, and that sum is going to be displayed by the function itself. After then this function was defined, we are going to be call the function. Okay, this function was called how? To call this function, we can use the name of function. So name of function you can find here. The name of function is what? That is the add, and it will be required two arguments. So give two arguments say I've been given it here, say 20 and 5, and close that one. Okay, now we can able to run this one. So now this is giving some indentation. Error, so that now it was removed. Now you can see sum of two number Sum of two number is 25. That what is called here, right? If again we want to be use that number with other different value, we can able to call the add 1020. We can call add with other value minus 3060, add minus 35, add minus 1 minus 8. Now we can get the different values. Now you can see sum of two number. First time it is called for 20 and 5, 10 and 20 minus 30, 60. Now you can observe that I've been called this add at least 4-5 times. Every time the same code is going to be used to add the two number. Okay. Similarly, we can also create another another program. Here you can see we are creating the add number. One of the function add number as a def name of the function. Here you can see in this square bracket I am not giving any argument. Okay, then colon. Since I am not giving any argument, but that value I want to read. Say these are the two number A. I want to add the two number A and B, right? And that sum I want to store here into the sum. But this A and B parameter I am not giving into this function as a argument. Okay, this number is add number not taking any value from the outside. So these A and B we are required to take inside the function itself from the user. So here I've been use the input function to read two number input number A. Okay, and then I'm asking that input number B. Okay, and since this input is going to be return me the string, so we are required to be convert this using the typecasting function int. So AB was converted into the integer, and then these are going to be added, and the sum is going to be displayed in the function. Okay, this is the what the function was meant to add two number, where the two numbers we are reading within the function itself. Now, if you are going to be call this function add number, I can call the name of the function add number. Now here you can see it is not taking any parameter. If I am going to be run this one, it is asking add number is going to be called. In the add number, it will going to be take the first statement as a input number A. I can enter the number as a 5, and then it is asking for input number B. I entered it to be 7, and then they are going to be do the summation and going to be display the sum as a sum. Now the program is came outside. Okay, here if you want to write any statement in the main program, I can write addition successful using function. So that can also be going to be displayed here. Say 3, 2 now. Okay. Or here you can see even in the function we can also give not only the integer, but we can give also the different type of argument can also be given. It can be list, it can be number, it can be maybe the tuple, it can be any other type of values which can be given. Now here you can see other different type of function which was created, but before that let us come to another important concept. We'll take one by one. Okay, now here you can see we can create more than one function in a program. For example, let us take here we are defining one of the function, say one function as a add def add. We are taking two arguments, say A and B colon, and here it is adding the, it can add, it is going to be add the S equal to A plus B, and it is going to be give you some value. it is returning some value, so I can use the return keyword, return s. Now this is one function we define. We can define another function, say multiply. It can also take two values, maybe x, different value. Okay, and I can able to make it to be return. What it is going to return? X into y. So directly we can able to write here also any expression in the return. I can write the definition diff maybe divide. It is taking two argument. Assume that we are taking maybe a and b, and now it is going to be make a def equal to a. We are doing the floor division. A and b return d. Okay, so these three functions we have been created. Now we want to use this function in some of the program. This is the main program. So there we can able to call this function by giving the name. Say add. It is taking two arguments. We can write the two arguments. Say uh, 15 and 5. Second, I can able to call maybe multiply, and I can write here 5 comma 2. Now remember one thing, that because this add is returning some value, right? It is returning use. It means it is going to be give me some value once I'm going to use the function add. So this is returning some value. So we are required to be store these return values somewhere. So we are going to be take one argument as a result r. Now this we got the, it means in the add function we are giving the 15 and 5. This add function will do the addition for me, and the sum they are going to be give me back, and that I'm going to be storing into the variable r. I can write here the print sum is colon comma r. Can be happen? Similarly, for the multiplication, it is also the return type function was defined. So we can write the m equal to multiply, and we can able to print the print. We can type here as a multiplication comma m. Also we can able to call the division, and that I can able to directly call in the print also, division of division. And here we are going to be call the diff function division, and here we are going to be giving the value. Assume that we are giving to be as a 7 2 7 comma 2. Okay. Now I can able to run this one. Now you can see sum of 15 and 5 is 20. Multiplication of 5 into 2, 10. Division of 7 by 2 is 3, because it is a floor division we have been using. If you want to call again the add with different value, I can able to call it to be given as a 100, and maybe this will be given as a 15. Now you can see we are getting the 150. So once we can define the function for some specialized tasks, we can use it again and again. In a function, in a program, we can define as many number of function we are interested, we can define it. So this is the three function we made. Add have the specialized tasks of addition, multiply have the specialized tasks of multiplication, division which have the specialized tasks of the division. Okay. So this is the how function can be created and used based on the different type of based on the argument and the return which are going to be done by the function. We have the different four flavors of function which we can create in our program. So we have one function which can take the argument or which can return the value or which can not take the argument, which can return. So ultimately we have the function. That function has some name and we are giving some argument here, right? And it is going to be return some value. Okay. So depending on whether my function not taking any argument, not returning any value, then this will be one flavor of function which we can able to create. Or my function can take some argument. They can take some argument, but does not returning any value. So that is going to become other flavor of function which we can able to create. Or my function can take argument. They can take the argument as well as it can also able to return the value. So that is going to become a other type of function which we can define. Or my function is not taking any argument, but it is returning some value. It is using the return. So this is going to become a fourth type of function. So we will see how all these four type of functions we can able to create in our program, and what things we have to keep in mind while we are trying to create the different flavor of functions. So first type of function which we can create is such function which does not take any argument, no argument, and it is also not going to return any value. So that function you can see here, how we can able to create. Here you can see this is one function which is created to display the value. Okay. This is one function I defined that is to display the one line. So define display line function. And in this case, we wanted to basically create one of the line with the star. So this is one kind of line it is going to be create. This way the line. So display that one line. In this function, we are running a loop starting from 0 to 40. And we are going to be print this as a line. But this is not going to print in a line because after print, you are going to get a new line. So this is the correct way to write here also as an int equal to you have to give the one you have to give the space or don't give any space. Okay. That is going to create one of the line of star. Another function we are creating sum. In this sum you can see it is not taking any argument. So it is not taking any argument. It means to do any computation that this sum function may be required some parameter. So that parameter it can take from the user within this function itself. So read the value of A and B and going to do the summation of that value. Since it is not returning any value, so we are not using here return. This return function was not used here. So since this function not returning any outcome, it means its calculation or its operation need to be displayed within this function itself. So that was going to display the sum of AB. If you want to call this function, we should going to be called by using the name of function simply display line. It does not require any argument, so no need to give the argument. It is not going to return any value, so no need to be use the R value variable. It is not returning, so here no assignment operator and no value are required to keep storage of the return value. Similarly, you can see sum we are going to call, no argument has been given, no return type, so no assignment operator we are using with the called function. Okay. So this is the one flavor which we have been used here. Now let us take the same example here to see how it is working there. Now you can see in this case, it is a function which was defined, display a line. Now you can run this one. If you are running, what we are getting? Okay, it was display line was called. It is displaying the line. Line you can see this was displayed a line. So this is came as a line of star. Then sum was called. Okay, I can just change this one sum, and here it is not a return. So instead of that, we can write as a print sum, comma, yes. Okay. Now again, I'm going to be execute this code because this function is supposed not to take any arrow. Okay. This is some problem with the Jupyter not responding. So I've been open this code again. Now here, this is what I made it. Okay. So this is not taking any argument, not returning any value. This is not taking any argument, not returning any value. Now I'm executing. This is not responding. So let us take the collab. To demonstrate you this outcome. So I'm going to create a new notebook to show you. Now this program is executed. So now you can see because this is also some error in this code because it is not returning. So this is not required here. Might be because of that this error is coming. Now you can see here a display line. So this has been displayed one of the line of star, and then this is asking for value. It is asking for one value. I given 3. Then this is asking the second value. I given the 5. And now this is going to be show me the sum. Sum is going to come as a 8. That sum is going to come as a 8. Now this is 3, 2. Now we are getting the sum to be 5. Now other flavor of function which we can able to create is a function which take some argument. Function which take argument but does not have the return value. So the same function was converted. Here you can see taking some argument. Okay. And since we are giving the argument, so we can also able to specify line should be created of which character. So suppose if you are going to give here argument as a star, so line should be created with the star. If I'm giving here the dollar, line should be created of the dollar. Okay. Similarly, in this case, sum you can see in the sum we are giving the 2 argument to make the addition of these 2 number. Since argument to add 2 number was given into this function, so there is no need to take a input from the user here. So no input, just like here, we have been called the input to read to value. So there no need of using the input. Only we are taking these 2 parameters to add the sum and going to be display that sum. Again, you can see here no return is there in the display line or sum. So this is known as a function which was defined, which can take the argument but does not return any value. Once we are going to be call this this function, so we can call the display line function, but before that display line, some character is required to be given as argument. So either I can take this character as a say dollar as a fixed constant, and I can able to pass here, or I can take it from the user in the calling program to take as a input. So we have been called the input and some required character we can able to take as an input, and that will be given into this display line. Similarly, when we are calling the sum, which are required two argument, either I can take x to be 10 to be initialized before this call, or I can keep here the sum as a fixed value 20 and 50, or we can read these two value into this variable, maybe it is a and b or xy you can assume, and that we are taking from the user in a single line. As you know that split was used to read the multiple value in a single line. How it works, if you know, input function dot split, okay, and since it is returning some uh, split with the space, but that was coming as a character, so that we are required to convert into the integer. So we have been used the for loop to make this conversion typecasting to be happen. So here we have been used this function int x for x in. Okay, that's what we have been using. So now this way we can able to get the two input, and that summation are going to be called. And after then, if required, we can again print one of the line at the end of this function call. So now you can see here the code. The same code was written here to show you. Now in this case, you can see this is execution is going to take place. Now this you can see asking for display, or let's stop. I can add one more thing here so that you can know whether I'm running this one in the main program or the function call. So I'm typing here printf and writing here in main program for calling functions slash n, that we can do. It is a print, not a printf, print. In the main program calling enter character to print in a line. I want to print a line with the say hash. Enter that one. Now you can see one line was created. Okay. And in this case, we are going to be give a two argument required. We are giving the x to be y, x to be 5, y to be 15. So that if you are going to give here, enter a character, we have been given the hash, a line is came, okay, and there is some was printed, and after then again a new line was came. Okay. Or if you want, you can print here is less n to see the difference. Now I can make a dollar. So first line, and then the sum was displayed, and again a new line after the result. This is the second flavor which we implemented as a function which can take some argument, or the function which does not going to return any of the argument. Okay. That's what how it is going to be work. Now the third flavor of the function is the function which can have the argument as well as the have the return value. So you can see the difference here. In this case, as in the previous case, we have been given two argument. Okay. Here we are giving the argument as well as with the argument in the function definition. We are also giving the using the return keyword return. That return need to be mostly at the end of the function, at the end of last statement within the function return r. Now in this function, okay, you want to look about this second example. See here what we can do. If we want to call the sum, it is required two arguments. So we have been given x and y as a two argument, but x does not contain any value, y is a variable. X need to be contain some value. I can store as a x10, y as a 20. After then I can call the sum. So this sum is going to be return me the sum to be as a 30. Okay, this sum function will be called. Now there is other way to read this one, is that I can read this value x and y from the user. How? Input x from the user, I can store here x, y input from the user. But this return is not a integer, so we are required to use here the int. Okay, we are going to use here the int typecasting function. Okay, so this x y was converted into the integer. Now I can able to call the sum to be x and y. The other option to read, because here all the value x and y we are giving in a separate line. First input was called giving 20. Then next time input was called, we are giving it 10. Instead of that, suppose we want to give the multiple input in a single line. Suppose you are want to give here as a 20 and 10 in the same line instead of separately. In that case, we can use the list. It is one kind of comprehension where we are going to use the split. It is a comprehension, list comprehension we are basically using. So what it does, by using the input dot split, what it does, whatever the input we are taking, that is going to be split into the multiple chunk. By default, space will be considered. So if we are entering 20 and space 10, so 20 and 10 are going to be created as a two different chunk. Chunk 1 is 20, chunk 2 is the 10. If you are entering as a single number without space, in that case, I can get only one chunk to be split, 2010. Okay. So space is by default the separator. Now, once whatever this input dot split is giving me two value 20, 10, that is coming in the form of list. It is basically a list. So it is coming as a list 20 and 10. Okay. So this 20, 10 is a string. It is not a integer. So we can able to use the for loop where we are going to take each individual item from this list and going to be passed to one of the function, which is basically one integer function, int. It is a typecasting function. And then they are going to convert that value from here, say 20 and 10, which are split here, taking by the for loop, 20 is coming the x, and that x will be given to this function, and they are going to convert this into the integer and going to be stored into this x first parameter. Then take the 10 and going to store here integer. It is going to be stored in the 10. If suppose you want to get the three number from the user, then we have to give the x, y, and z, and we can use the same function as it is. But input should be given as a 10, 20, and 30. Okay. It means we are taking the input in a single line, multiple input, as well as we are going to convert that input into a appropriate data type using this kind of typecasting. Int x is a typecasting. So here any function you can use to which the x should going to be go to make this operation to be take place. That's why we have been use this other way of doing this multiple parameter to be read from a single input function call. I hope it will be clear to you. Okay. So here you can see we have been calling the return also. We want to return this sum division D, or we can call in the return A minus B. It can be also contain any expression. So expression will be first evaluated, and they are going to be get one of the single value, and that is going to be returned when this function is going to be called as a sum. Now, once we are going to call this function, now here you can see again we are required two arguments to be given to this add function, x and y. So x and y again we have to take from the user. Either I can take as a fixed value and I can give it. But in case we want to take it from the user, in that case I can use the input separately as I discussed with you. I can call the input one by one for x, one for y. You can call, or we can able to read these input in a single line, multiple input in a single line. In that case, I have to call input dot split. Okay. So whatever input we are reading as a string, that should be converted into multiple chunks. You can refer the split function which was discussed into the string. Okay. So now this was split, and this is going to be return me one of the list. But this list, whatever the items are here, these items are in term of string. So that conversion required because we want a integer to be used as a xy. Okay. That's why what we did using the for loop, either I can use the for x in input dot split. That way we can do, and whatever coming that I am going to be sent into one of the function x. That is the one way. Second, that we can use also the map function. Okay? Map function. It is doing the same thing. How the map is going to come? Map, and here we are giving any function. Okay, and we are giving here input dot split we are given, right? It means this will take here some iterable item. Iterable. It means one collection of item. Okay, collection of item. So what it does to argument function and comma collection of item. So here due to the input dot split, I am getting a collection of item as a list, and within this function list we are giving one of the function. This is the function. Function I am giving the int. So int is a function how it is going to become one of the constructor basically, right? And this is typecasting function int. So that was given map. So this map function what does? They are going to take one by one each item from this list, maybe 2, 10, 20, take one by one, and going to be map within this function, give to this function. This function operate over the value. So this task is to convert this into the integer, and that is going to be returned. So how many value we are returning? We are reading two value. We are required two variable to store because this list contain only two variable. If I am taking the three value, I can take here the three variable, so that each value of this list which was undergone to one of the operation to this function, they are going to store separately into this variable, and then this value xy can be used into the add or maybe subtract. Okay. See, print is different. Print function is going to be display the content on the screen. Return is going to be give you the value to the calling one. It is returning something to the function. Print and return are different. A return will be used inside a function if you want that your function are going to be give some value to the program which are going to be used that particular function. It means which is going to be called that function. Even though print I can use inside a function. Okay. Not a problem. So function, print and return both are different. Okay. So this is the other function which you have been made, which are taking some argument and going to be return some value. Okay. So now here you can see this is the same function was implemented here, but this will not work here. So taking this one in the collab, execute this one. Now it is asking for two value. I am entering the two value. Now here you can see I have been used the map. Okay, so I'm just giving 4 with a space 2. They are going to be taken two value 4 and 2. Now 4 plus 2, they are going to become 6. When add is called, when division is called, 4 and 2, 4 divided by 2, I can able to get a 2.0. Subtraction, this function subtraction called x is going to be 4, y to be 2. In the subtraction, a will be 4, b will be 2, 4 minus b, 2, it will be the 2. If you want to call again and again this division, I can again call the division. Now you can see here, this is going to become 30, 21. You can again get. If you want to call the division over different values, say division, it is second division call taking the same value. The better I can able to take this from user again, so that division should work on the two different value. So I've been given 4 and 2. Now it is came. Again, next time I am taking the input from the user, it will be take maybe 7 and 3, and then division is called here. So that is the benefit of function. I can use this function again and again after the creation of the code for the function once. Now the last type of function which we can create will be of a function which does not take any argument, but it can return a value. Now here you can see read number, not taking any argument, not taking any argument. It means we have to take some argument inside this function. So here what we are doing, read number, it means take some input from the user. So I've been called here input read number. Input function I called, converted this into the integer and then stored into the number, and that number I'm returning it back. And in the function sum, okay, which is not taking argument but returning the sum of two summation of some value. So inside this sum, I am taking the 3 value from the user by calling this for loop with the split, for with the split. So this will going to give me the I can read from this 3 values, say 4, 3, 4, 9. So this 3 will become here. Y will be contain 4, Z will be contain 9. Their sum is going to be stored into the S, and that is going to be returned. Now we are calling the read number. Read number return a value. So we have been taken here as a n. It is going to be stored somewhere. So that's why this function required some of the assignment operator. Then printing whatever number I have been read, and then I'm going to call another function sum. This function is not given any argument. This function going to be take the input inside the function itself, and after addition they are going to give you the value back. So after that value was got, it is going to be returned back into the R, and that R we are going to be display here as a sum. So this is the other flavor of the function where we does not given any argument, but this function is returning some value. Now you can see here, this is asking for read number. Okay, this we have been called the read number. So read number is called, read number is asking for some number. So we enter some number, say 234. It was number is 234. Then we call the sum. Sum is called, the control should go to call this function sum. Sum we wanted, so we made here the sum yes to be initialized as a 0. Then taking 3 user from the 3 number from the user using the for loop. So here in the this input call, we have to give 3 number separated by space because we have been used the split. So I have been used this 3 number to be given. Now the sum is going to become 13. Now let us run this program again. Okay. Now here instead of that split, where I'm taking the split separator as a space. Instead of that, suppose I'm going to take here as a say percentage to be separator. Then what will happen? 4, 3 number I've been given, asking for 3 number in a single line, but that numbers need to be separated by percentage. So I'm giving the 4 percentage 2 percentage 7. Okay. So this split are going to be split the number into chunks which is separated by percentage. So they are going to take the first chunk 4 up to the first percentage. Now it is came. After then take the second one till the other percentage are going to come as a separator. Now you can see we are getting the 13. So this is the benefit of split with the input, where we can take multiple values of numbers in a single function call of input to read the data from the user. Okay. Hope this is clear. All these four flavor. So out of that, the most better way to create a function is that we should always define a function which can take a value as an argument and which can return a argument, which can return a value. It will take an argument and return some result as a return value. That's why any of the built-in function which you have been seen, everyone is taking at least argument and going to be return some return value. Okay. So that will be always going to be preferable to create one of the function. We should take argument and try to return some of the value. That is the most appropriate way of better utilization of a defined function, which is going to be created by the user. Okay. If you have any query, you can type. Otherwise, I will discuss another important concept of function. Is there any query you want to raise? Okay, fine. So let us come to few important way by which we can able to pass the argument. Let us take how the argument can be given. Okay. So we have different way the argument can be given. One is that keyword argument. Okay. It means it is possible that we can also give some argument in a function as a key value syntax. Suppose we are going to call the add and giving said 20 and 10. And add, how we define add x and y, and then we did some maybe s equal to x plus y, and we have been written it as a return s. Here when we are going to call the add function, okay, so whatever the first argument we are giving here, that is going to be mapped with the first argument which are given defined into the add. So in the declaration of the function add, the first parameter was x, second parameter y. So the order in which we are going to give the value into this add function, in the same order they are going to take the parameter. So first one assigned taken considered as a x, second will be considered as a 10. And in this add call, suppose we are going to give only 20, not the second parameter was given. So this will going to give you the error that number of parameter is not matching with the definition of a function which was created, because it is required the two argument. In case I am going to call this add and giving here 10 and 20. In that case, this 10 will going to be considered here basically for the x, 20 will be basically for the 20. So this is basically the positional kind of argument we are giving, where the first position will be treated as a first value for the first argument in the add. Second will be considered to be as a value for the second argument in the function definition. Okay. But sometimes instead of giving based on the position of the order in which the variable was taken into the definition of the function, that we can able to send, we can able to change basically. Okay. Instead of giving directly the parameter in the defined order of definition of the function, we can also give the argument based on the name, based on the key, based on the keyword. How we can give? Let us suppose we have been created one of the function add two number, num1, num2, and this is the summation of number are there. Now, if you want to call this function add num, okay, so add num, add to num, they are required two value. Either I can give 20 and 10, or I can able to give this argument by the name. What is the name of this argument? We have been taken into this definition num1. So I can write num1 equal to 15 comma, second argument num2 equal to 10. Okay. Or if I want to give this one, I can give a normally into this position order 20 and 30. So 20 will be for the num1, 30 for the num2. Or we can able to call this and give in the order of add to num. I can write here also the num2 equal to 15, comma num1 equal to 10. In that case, order does not matter because we are saying that number 1 should be given the value 10. So by default, this 10 should not go to the num2. It will be referred only for the num1. Num2 was 15. Even though it was given as a first position in this function call, it should be assigned here 15 only for the number 2. That is what is the key argument. I can give the parameter to the function as a keyword argument where the name of the argument can be used to specify to which of the variable I am going to give which of the value. So as a key value format, we can able to give it. Okay. So now whatever the parameter we are passing into the function, there are two type of parameter which are going to be given the classification. One is known as the formal parameter. That formal parameter is appear into the definition of a function. So when we are defining any function, say add def and giving x, y. Okay, that's what we are doing. X equal to x plus y and return yes. And when we are going to call the function add, we are giving some value 20, 30. Okay. So here during the definition of the function, whatever the name we are using for the parameter, these are known as the formal parameter. And the actual value which we are giving during the call of the function, that is known as the actual parameter. Actual parameter. It means this is the real value which we are giving for the formal parameter. And even though suppose we have been read, say p equal to 20, q equal to 30, and if we are writing here add p comma q. So in this case, q and p is known as the formal parameter. It means this is the real or actual value which you are going to be give to the function. Here x and y can be known as the formal parameter. Okay, so hope this two nomenclature regarding the parameter was clear. Okay, now you can see in this case we are calling a function cube, and the function was defined as to find out the cube of a given number. So cube of a given number nothing but CB num into num into num, or that can also be written as a num into 3 can be written. Okay. So in this case, whatever the parameter we are giving during the call of the function cube, that is known as the actual parameter, and the name or the variable or the identifier we are using for the function definition, that is known as the formal parameter. Hope this is clear. Similar to this parameter passing into the function, we can also use the list to be passed to the function. But before that, let us take few example, more example. We can pass into the function also the list. Here you see this code. In this case, what this is the list was taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we want to create one of the function where we want to pass the list as a argument. Now here you can see this is the code is okay. This is working here, so I can demonstrate you here. So one of the function I defined get sum. Okay, here I am giving the argument lst. or if you want, we can take the L, not a matter. Okay. LST I been given, it means it is a list. Now in this function, I want to find out the sum of, because I know that in the function, this argument was as a list. It was a list. Okay. So it LST is a list. So if we want to find out the sum of all the element in the list, it means that I have to scan each of the element from the list and going to be do the addition. So how I can able to add that one from how I can able to add it? It means we are going to be take a call, say for L is given some say 20, 30 and 40. You can assume as a L is given some. Okay. So for I in L, and we want to find out the sum. If we want to find out the sum, it means we are required some S to be initialized with a 0, and then I can take S plus from this list individual item we are going to be used. So L, sorry, this is going to become I. Okay. So complete item of the list is going to be summed. Okay, that's how we are summing that one. And if you are going to be call this as a writing as a function, we can write as a function def sum. Okay, here some LST was suppose given, and that we want to implement. So how we can implement is that we are taking one of the say variable taken 0, and then we are going to be write here again for I in LST, that was the given as a argument, and then I can able to make a S equal to S plus I, and once we have been completed this summation, after that we can able to return this value. How we can return? Return S. Return S bracket, or without bracket it can work. So this is the way by which we can able to create a summation of function, and then we can able to return that. Now here you can see a list was taken as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we are, because this function is returning, so we are calling the get sum, passing here the argument as a list, and then this get sum is going to return some value. So we have been taken here some assignment operator and some variable. Now we are going to be call this as a print sum. Now you can see what output we are getting. Now sum, we are getting the sum. Okay. Now say again we are going to take here, instead of list which I am passing, because it is one kind of collection. Now instead of list we can able to pass maybe any maybe tuple. I am taking this T and assume this tuple was taken. It means any collection can work if it is a collection of number. Now here it is taken as a T. Okay, which is nothing but a, now you can see I can able to get this collection to be given into this function sum, and then we can able to use the result of that sum. Okay, fine. It means it is not a individual parameter I can pass, but also I can able to give the collection of item as a collection of item into this function as a argument. Okay, fine. Okay. So now let us come to another important concept of this function. Okay. We can able to pass the argument. Also, we can able to use filter. Already I discussed with you. Filter is going to be used to select any element from the collection of item based on some uh, operation of a function, the way it is going to work there. So filter is basically one kind of ready-made function, inbuilt function, which can be used even in the function for the different purpose. So here you can see how our created function can use the filter function to select some element from that collection based on the way the function is going to be operate. So what this filter basically, first see what filter can do. So filter will take some function and we are required to be give some iterable item, just like a map is we have been taken. Map what does? Map is taking some function and taking some iterable item. Yes. What it does, it can able to take a sequence of item, and that items is going to be filtered by the function. If that function is going to be pass the filter requirement, in that case, that item is going to be returned by this filter function. Okay. If they are going to be satisfied that solution of the function, then they are going to be returned. So here you can see we have been we are defining one of the function is even number. So when the number is even number, I am giving one argument as a number, which are check that whether number is divisible, modulus of 2 divisibility we are going to check. If number was fully divisible, then it is true that it is even, otherwise it was the false. If number modulus operator equal to 0, it is true, it is even, return true, otherwise return else. Or if you want, we can also write here the else and return false. That can be also written. Okay, false. But here what we are doing, if the number was even, return true, otherwise anyhow the number was not even, so this will going to be return the false. That's what is written here. Now how this filter can be used with our inbuilt function, even though we can able to use any ready-made function, inbuilt function, but we are trying to use our own function into the filter. So how we can able to call, let us see here, filter. What is the function we are going to give? We are giving our function as a each event which we define, and then this will be required some iterable item. What is the iterable item which we want to check to be filtered through this each event function? We are giving the n. So what it does, it will going to be take each individual item from this list and going to be passed to this particular each event function as a filter kind of thing. So first number should go to this each event function. It is saying that it is not even. Okay, so this will return false. Okay, second number 2, it is going to be satisfied. So all those item within this iterable which can able to fulfill the function requirement, which will satisfy the function solution, they are going to be returned by the filter. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, they are going to be satisfy this function is even. So these are going to be returned, and the things which are going to be returned, that is going to be returned as a list. Okay, so that value is going to be stored into the event list. Okay, as a event. Now that can be converted into the list by using the list function constructor, and that value are going to become as a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So now here you can see that how we can be use this filter, and there we have been use our own defined function. Okay, so this is the factorial to compute. Okay, so let us take another type of function which are possible, which we can able to define other than this function which are defined by definition keyword. We can define a function as a lambda. So lambda function is basically one kind of anonymous function which does not have any name. So any function which we are defining as an anonymous function that is not defined by the definition keyword. Okay, So this lambda functions are basically one kind of small anonymous function which does not have any name similar to the function name which we are going to be create during the with the definition keyword. So lambda function can take any number of arguments, but this lambda function will return only one value. Even though in the function which are defined by def keyword, that can also return more than one value in case that is going to become a return value is a list. But here lambda should going to be return only a single value. Okay. So let us see how this lambda function can be defined. The lambda function can be defined with the keyword lambda, whereas the normal function we have been defined using the def keyword. So how define a lambda function? We can use the keyword lambda, and we can able to give some parameter. It will take any number of parameters given the one parameter, and then we are going to write the definition of the function. We are writing x into x into x, and this lambda is going to be return some value. So we have been taken some CV. Okay. So that is the how lambda function can be defined. If you are going to call a lambda function, you have to use the name of this CV. And since this lambda is taking some argument should be given before this colon. Okay. So it is taking the single argument. So we have to give in the bracket one argument, so 7, CV, maybe Y. Okay. That is the how the lambda function can be called. So the syntax of lambda function is to use the keyword lambda, and it can take any number of arguments. So we can define our lambda function lambda and taking x comma y comma z any number of argument colon, and we can write any expression. Here some expression is required, okay, which are going to use these parameter to be perform some computation. So now we want to perform here the addition, so we can write x plus y plus z. This will be used basically to define some kind of short computation. Okay. So now this is going to be known not by name, but this lambda should go to return the value of this expression, which was defined here as a return value. So we can store into somewhere sum. Okay. So this is the lambda definition function was given. Lambda function was defined. If you want to call this one, you have to use this sum name as a sum, and it is taking after this lambda keyword, there should be some number of argument we are giving. So this argument should be given to be as a 3 because it is taking the 3 parameter here defined. So I can give the 10, 20, 30. So this is the way by which we are calling the lambda function. Or it can be given as a sum A, B, C if it was taken as a some argument from the user, maybe from some of the constant fixed value which are given there. Okay. So hope this is clear how to create a lambda function. Also, we can able to use the lambda function with any other built-in function. Already I shown you with the filter how to use with the filter this lambda function. The same lambda function can be used also with the map or the sorted one. Okay. How with the map? As I told you that how the map should work. The map will take some function, right? And comma some collection of item. Okay. So here this function which is required for this map to operate over, we can able to define our own function. Maybe I can able to make each event which we have been defined earlier, and we can able to give the list, some of the list item, list now of number. Now this can work it. Okay. Similar to the normal function, lambda function can also be used with the built-in function. How? Say this square was defined. Lambda taking one argument, and this x square was defined, x to power 2. Okay. And then we want to use this into the map. So what we can do, we can able to call, if you want to call this, one thing that we can able to call the print square 5. They are going to find out the lambda to be executed. So how this will going to be happen? Basically during the print, this square 5 was going to replace with this statement, whatever here written. So this is going to be written as a 2 into 2, and then the evaluation are going to take place. So this is similar to the inline function. It means lambda function was alternate of inline function which we exist for the C or C++ language. Okay. Now we can able to define even any function here you can see, but that required that it should going to be written only the single value. Okay. Now you can see what we defined. We defined one of the is even odd even. Okay. So what we are defining? We are defining a function lambda x, lambda function, and here we are writing what? If. Okay. If you remember this, how the if can be used in a single line. If x is divisible by 2, return even, or you can say true. Otherwise, else return odd. Okay. Now, if you are going to call it check even 4, if 4 is even, they are going to return as a even. If they are odd, they can return as a odd. This you can see how it can be used there. Now, let us take here in the map how we can able to use it. In the map, we can use this function as a list. Say we can able to use as a map, and here because this function in the map we are required first to give some function and then some collection of item, right? So here the function instead of giving, because this does not given any name, we should going to be define the function here itself as a lambda. So function should be lambda parameter x to 2 comma maybe any collection maybe as a num, or even though we can write a map lambda and we can able to give here x y z and colon x plus y plus z comma, and the list we can able to give here as a num, that can be given. As we know that map is going to return some value collection of item, that collection of item needs to be converted into the list. So that's why the list function was used here, and this list is coming as a square of the number, so that will be stored into one of the variable square. That is how this is going to work there. Even though this lambda can be used with the uh, list of tuples. Here you can see we are using a list of tuple. It is a list which contain the tuple. First item as a tuple, second item as a tuple, third item as a tuple. Okay, every item is a tuple. Now we want to sort this list of tuple based on the second value. It means in this list we have the pair of value. First one is 1, 1, 2. Now we want to sort this based on the second value in each of the tuple of a list. In that case, we can use lambda function. How the lambda can be used for this purpose? We are going to use the sort function, right? So sort function, how does sort is going to be sort is going to perform some how this is going to make we are going to take the sort. Okay, in this sort we are required to give some key. What key we are going to give for the sorting? We are going to give here lambda function, lambda, and we are giving some item. Okay, colon item 1. Okay. So what it does, basically what we are doing, we are giving here uh, the first item. It is itemized. We are doing the itemization. So item going to be take the first value from this particular pair and going to be consider that as a key, and based on that they are going to be sort this number. So whatever the value we are coming from the first from that list. Okay, the first item index is 1, it means it is coming the ONE. So they are going to come as a ONE. Second, they are coming the 4. Third is coming 3. Now they got it. And based on that key, it means the this uh, 1, 4, and 3, they are going to sort this pair. They are going to sort this pair. Then you are going to get first is F4. It means uh, 2 comma 4. Here we are going to get as a 2 comma 4. Second is going to come to be as a O 1 comma 1, and next is going to become 3 comma 3. Okay. So this is the how our lambda function can be used with the built-in function. Okay. Another function which you can use is, you can see here we are using the with the filter. With the filter that can be also used here. So the fundamental difference between these lambda and regular function is that lambda function is going to become nameless, whereas function which are defined by definition was the named explicit. In case of lambda, we have to write expression only in a exactly one line, but multi-line statement can be written into the regular function. Okay. Lambda function does not contain any doc string for any kind of comment, whereas the regular function can contain that one. Also, the lambda function does not contain any return value, a return statement. Implicitly, this lambda should go to return some value of the expression, whereas in case of the regular function which are defined by the def keyword, they have the explicit return keyword have to be used by the developer. Okay. So this is about the lambda function. Okay. If you have any query, you can ask. You can type any query related to the lambda function or any other concept of the function. Okay, fine. So now, whatever the variable we are declaring in the different program, either we are writing a program as a function or the normal program, those variables sometimes may not be accessible across all the locations within the program. The accessibility of that variables will be depending on where that variables are going to be declared. Okay. So the scope of a variable will going to be determine the portion of the program where we can access a particular variable, that is the identifier. So with the help of scope of variable, we can able to judge that up to which of the portion that variables are going to be accessible and visible. So there are two fundamental types of scopes of variable. One is going to become a global variable. Such kind of variables can be accessed throughout the program body by all the functions which are defined within that program itself. It means these global variables are going to be defined outside of function body. In that case, this have the global scope. Any variable which are defined inside a function is known as the local, have the local scope, and that will be known as the local variable within that particular function. And those local variable which are defined inside a function body, that will be accessible inside the function only. So if you are declaring any function, any variable within that function, that should be local to that one. Okay, you can see this example. Here we have been one of the function I have been defined as a sum, taking the two argument, and we are doing the summation of this x and y. Okay. And then we are going to find out the total. Okay. Now you can see in this sum, total variable is given x plus y, but total is not declared here, right? So even the total may not declare inside, above to this function, this total has been initialized. Okay, so above to the function sum, one of the variable total was initialized. So this will be treated as a global variable. Because of that, although this total we are not initializing inside the function sum, we can get this total variable to be accessible and which was already initialized above to this definition of the function. So this total is known as the global variable. So now if you are going to be call this sum over 10 and 20, we can get here to be as a 30. In case this total is not initialized here above to this defined function, and then you are going to call this sum function, then this total may going to be get some garbage value sometimes, because total need to be initialized before doing the summation. Okay. So any function, any variable which you want to make to be accessible throughout the program, even across the multiple function, you can able to define this as a global variable above to the function, defined function. Here you can see we can also define a function inside a function, which is known as the nested function. Nested function. So now it is defined one of the function demo fun, and one value has been taken a text. I wish to learn Python. Inside this demo function, we have been defined another function show, whose task is to display the string which are given as the argument. And then inside this function, we are calling a, it means inside the demo function, we are calling a function show, which are defined inside the demo function. Okay. So function show was called inside the demo function. Okay. Demo function. Okay. So when we are going to call this function, I have to call the main function, that is the demo function. Because of call to this one, this function should going to be called, going to be keep on executing. And inside this, we have been called the show. So now this show function was called, and show function was defined inside the demo function itself. So we are going to get a result to be as a I wish to learn the Python was going to be displayed. Right? So this is the function where we can declare one of the function inside a function. Okay. So now we are going to take a break of 5 minutes, short break of 5 minutes, and thereafter we are going to take few of the examples of functions which I have been discussed with you all. Video. You may type it. In case you have any query, you may type it on chatbot. Okay, so time being you can check these are the function which I defined. Lambda function, lambda x taking one argument, and they are going to be find out the power of 2 square. They are going to make it going to be double it, and that is going to return some value. That is going to return some value. Therefore, this double was given as a argument. If you are going to call this one, we are going to get a 5 to be double, and we are going to get it as a 10. Okay, same double can be written as a normal defined function. Okay, you can see how there is a difference in declaration of a lambda function and the definition of the regular function. Now let us take another way of passing the argument to a function, which is known as the arbitrary argument. If you don't, sometimes we does not know how many arguments we will have to pass into our function. Live stream चलो YouTube पर. If you don't know how many arguments will be given to a function, sometimes in that case we can able to pass that argument as a arbitrary argument. That arbitrary argument, if you want to pass, we have to use the star before the argument which we are going to give to the definition of the function. And generally that function will receive that as a tuple of argument. It means whatever the argument, arbitrary argument we are passing into the function, that will be given to that function as a tuple. Okay, it means that cannot be modified, only it can be accessed the item from the tuple. Now you can see here, I am defining one of the function, my function. That my function is taking argument whose length can vary. Now in this case you can see my function is defined as a arbitrary argument, star argument, and what basically we want that this argument which are given here, that going to be sum these argument and going to be return this result. If you are going to run this one, you can see in the call what we did, we have been calling this function my function, and because it is defined as a arbitrary argument by using the star before the parameter which I am going to be given into the my function. So I can able to give here more than one values as a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now these value will be given to this args variable in the form of tuple, and these value are going to be used inside this my function, and we use the ready-made function sum, inbuilt function sum, to add those number. Okay, if you want, we can also able to sum these value of this argument individually by writing your own code. So I have been used the inbuilt function to sum the all the arguments which are given here as a arbitrary parameter. Now that's why it was came to the summation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If later on, suppose we want to give here more than one no other arguments, say 5, 2, 1, 6. Okay. In p function, you can see I've been given in this p function whatever this argument I'm giving. Okay, as I told you that this argument was given in term of the tuples. Now from this argument I want to display, because it is given, this 5, 10, 15 was given to the ARGS in term of the tuple. From that tuples I want to display the value which are available at the index 2. It means the third item. So I can able to use the ARGS, and here using the index 2, which is nothing but 0, 1, 2, that is the 15 which are going to be displayed. Okay. Or if you want, I can able to use this my function. Okay, my fun, and here I am giving this argument, right? So I can get this variable parameter which are given here to be summed together, and they are going to be give you the return value as a summation. Okay. Sometimes if you want, I can able to give even a single value. Okay. If suppose you want, you can give a single value. It means this number of argument I am going to be give to this function call of my fun, that number of argument can vary. Okay. If that we want to give the argument which is going to be keep on varying, having the variable length in the different call of the function, then we can define that argument as a arbitrary argument during the function definition. Now other type of argument which are given is the default argument, which is known as the default value. Sometimes during the function call, user can able to give the function lesser number of argument, and in case the number of argument was not given sufficient number of argument, then that argument should be assume some of the default value in place of the values which are not given for such argument. So this will be useful in case some argument wanted to be given a fixed value, but sometimes that argument does not given any value, so that argument are going to be assumed by default some value which are going to be given during the definition of the function. So how we can able to give the default value? In that default value, we are required to give some value during the definition. Here you can see multiply number, and in this multiply number we are giving two arguments x, y. Okay, that is the how we can able to define our function. But here during this declaration of the definition, along with this parameter x, we are giving some value 7, comma y 8. So this type of argument is known as the default value argument. Now this definition was written to the addition, it is a multiply, so we can make a multiplication. And when we are going to call the multiply function, okay, during the multiply function call, we are not giving any argument. If we are not giving any argument, so by default, this will be assumed that x and y should be 7 and 8, and 7 and 8 are going to be computed for the multiplication. If suppose we are giving only one value, okay, here we can see we are giving as a argument where I am giving the named argument keyword argument 50, but one of the argument we are missing. During the call of this function, the function call will going to be assume the value of y to be 50 because it was given as a argument, while the other argument x which was not given, it will be considered to be as a 7 because this default value we have been given during the declaration of the definition of the function. Okay. In case we does not given this default argument and writing only x and y during the definition, in case we are not giving any sufficient number of arguments, so this will going to give me the error. Also in this case, it will going to give the error. So that is the benefit of giving default value with the definition of a function. Or if you want, we can also give the sufficient number of argument, say multiply number, we can able to give 10, 20. Now it will going to be work, not a problem. But in case we are going to miss any value, then the other value which are not given as a argument during the function call, that are going to be pre-assumed the default value which was defined during the definition of the function. Okay. So we have different type of parameters and argument which are given, as well as we have the different type of formal argument which we can able to give into the function during the calling of a function. It can be required or positional argument can be given, or it can be keyword argument, or it can be default argument, or it can be variable length argument which was given there. So we are going to take one by one each of the example to see how these functions can be implemented. Now here you can see this is the variable argument I discussed with you. Now it is the required argument, right? In this definition, uh, divide number PQ was given. If Q is greater than 0, we can able to compute some definition was given here, right? If PQ, we are going to check whether P is divisible by Q or not. Okay. So in the division P divided by Q, if Q is going to become 0, it means division is not possible. In that case, we are checking a condition if Q is greater than 0. Only then the division are going to perform. P divided by Q, I can print division. Else, Q is not greater than 0, it means division is not possible, invalid. Now this function is defined as a function which are taking the argument but does not returning any value. No return this function will do. Now we are going to call this function as a division number 25. So this is the required argument. It is mandatory that we should give the argument and sufficient number you have to give as per the definition of the function in the order. The value we are giving in the same order, it was going to be mapped with the argument which we have been taken into the definition of the function. Okay. So now here, if you are going to be make a div numbers, and we are going to be make it to be 5 and 20. Suppose it was changed. Now you can see it is coming 0.25 because this 5 was considered as a P, 20 was considered as a Q. While in case of the first call, 20 was considered as a P and 5 as a Q. Okay. So this function is a one kind of function which is required to be given some argument. So, positional argument already I variable length I talked with you. Now there should be other way of giving the variable length argument. That is known as the with the star it can be given, or it can be given as a double star. That is basically given as a some dictionary. Let me to check where that was. Okay. So this was the keyword or required argument, keyword argument. In the keyword argument, we have to give the argument using the name of that argument. Here you can see a definition print name, first name, last name, title that was created. Where in case if it is a title, if title was given, then I can print first character of the name, right? And then with that I want to concatenate dollar and the last character, first character from the last name, and that was connected with the dollar. Okay, that's what we need. Otherwise, in case title was given, then we are writing the first and the last name. Okay, that kind of function I defined, which are taking some argument but not returning any argument, returning any value. When we are going to call this one, we are writing as a print name born, any second argument, last argument we have been given as a true. Okay. So in this case, what happened? True is given. It means if title, it means true. because it is taken as a condition. So I'm giving this title as a true or false, not as any string. Otherwise, this condition if may not going to be work. Okay. So if title it was given as a true, it means that it will going to be display the true. It's going to be display the first character of a first name, last character of the last name with the dollar concatenation. So we are getting here as a P dollar H dollar. In case we are giving the first name as a John and last second parameter I am giving with the keyword, keyword as a keyword argument. So giving here the last equal to Johnny and title as a false. So this is the argument which we are giving during the call by the name of argument which was defined into the definition of the function. So this is the keyword argument. Now this can be able to have the title. So they are going to get as a John and Johnny. Okay. Fine. So that is the how keyword can be used. Now other way of giving the variable length argument, one is that we can use the star. Also we can able to give the variable length argument by using the double star keyword argument, KW argument. Okay. One is that by using the uh, star argument. Second way that we can able to use the double star K argument. Okay. If we are going to give here the variable length of argument using the double star argument, in that case, the second double star argument is basically required to be given as a dictionary. It means that we have to give as a key and value format of argument, which means two value we have to give key, label, and the value format. Now let us take how this can be used as a variable length of argument. Suppose one function we are defining order pizza. So this order pizza is given one argument size. Okay, it means it is saying that what type of size of pizza you want to be order, and within this pizza different kind of topping can be happen. So I'm going to take this toppings as a variable argument, variable list of item. Okay, using the argument start topping. Second, we are taking this as a keyword as a variable length argument using the double star, which is going to become taken as a dictionary kind of value and label argument to delivery detail. This will talk about as a key and value pair, the argument should be given there. So once we got this order pizza function to be defined, here we want to display the size of the pizza. So for the size of pizza, we have been used one of the formatted output using the F size ordered size. Okay. So what it does, it is going to be display this size into the formatted way. Okay. Or if you want, you can also write here as a instead of using the formatted F, we can write as a size ordered. We can write colon and we can able to remove that. So we'll talk about the formatted output about this. This way it can be written. And second that toppings was as a variable length argument. It was collected as a positional item into the tuple. It was given as a tuple. I told you that argument should be given star argument in the form of tuple and double star will be given in the form of dictionary. So topping is what are the different toppings which are available there. So we are going to run for the loop for topping in toppings, right? It is a list. So every toppings are going to be displayed. Okay. So here this F what we are using F colon dash dash toppings. Okay. It means these toppings which are written into these curly braces, at that place the value are going to be displayed, value of this variable, and before that this dash dash are going to be used there. Okay, this is the other format of doing the printf. It is one kind of concatenated string. Within the string we are going to be print the value and that will be taken as a string. Okay, that was happen in form of the double star keyword argument. We are going to be print the delivery information. Since this double star Q star argument KW argument, this will be in the form of dictionary. So this contain the two value, one is the key and the value. So since it contain the two value, okay, in the delivery detail, it contain the two values, key and value. So we are going to be make this dictionary to be itemized. So during this itemized, we are using the item dictionary delivery dot detail dot item. So this is going to create one of the list as a key value pair in the form of tuple. So that key value pair are going to be created as a two value pair, and from that we are going to be scan each of the pair, and first value, which is the key, should be come to the key, value should be come to the value, and then we are going to be display the key and the value. And in this case, we are using the key dot replace. It means in case there should be any underscore or space, that should going to be removed. Okay. For that purpose, we are using the replace function. And then if you are going to call this function order pizza, so first argument is basically the size. So we have been given a size as a large. Second, it is taking the variable length argument. We have been given the toppings. Toppings will be pepperoni, mushroom, extra cheese. Third argument, it is taking the double star delivery detail. So this will be going to be given in term of the key value pair. So what is that key value pair? One is that which are going to come is the customer name, key value Syam, comma, second key address value, this one. Okay. And it is also taking, okay, one of the value pair, ring bell, value is true. Okay. So three key value pair was given there. If you are going to display, you can see the size order large toppings. These toppings are going to be display from one by one from the topping, pepperoni, mushroom, extra cheese, and delivery information is key. Key was what? Syam. Okay. And what was the title? That is coming the customer name as is Syam. Customer name, that is the key. Customer name value is Syam. Second address, value is City Palace. Third key is the ring bell and value is true. So now you have been seen that how variable list of argument can be given using the star argument or maybe double star argument. If we are using the star argument, it should be given as a list. If it is a double star argument we are passing, then that will be given in term of the dictionary. Okay. So depending on your requirement, you can use it as per your need. Okay. Fine. Now we can able to print any of the string into the formatted for the formatted display using the format method. What this format method does, it is going to be specify the value which are going to be inserted inside the place which are going to be marked by the as a curly braces. So here you can see I've been taken a value as a equal to 5, b equal to 10, c equal to a plus 10. Now here we are using the string format method, right? So what we should do, we can write into the print sum of number is ABC. So here we have been taken the dot format, string dot format. In the format bracket, we are giving the argument ABC, that is the three argument. These argument where we want to display, that we can specify by the position using the curly braces. So at these places, the first argument are going to come to the first curly braces, second will be at the second, third will be at the second. Okay. Same way you can see here in the second printf, I have been used the 20 after this multiplication. Okay. 10 at the second place. 20 into 30, they are going to be evaluated, and that value should be used at the third curly braces as a placeholder. Now you can see it was used here. Now you are looking that 5 is coming before the sum. If I want this sum 5 to become here as a sum of, suppose here I want to display the value of a. then we can use before after the sum. Now you can see the better formatted way. Sum of 5 and 10 is 15. So whenever you want the better formatted output, you can use the format method. Yes. Alternate to this one, we have the F string method, right? What this F string method does, if you want to display this same outcome, here it is going to be used the, it can do the same thing. Only uh, thing is that we have to make this to be formatted before this quotation. We have to use the F, and then inside that we have to use the sum. Okay, and here inside this curly braces, we can write a, we can write the B, we can write the C, and does not require to use any of the format method. Now you can see. Now you can see. So without using the format method, we can use the F string method, where before this string, you should use the F, and after that, whatever you are going to be display, you should write into the double quote, and in between this string, wherever you want to use any of the place value, placeholder to put some of the value that you can write inside the curly braces. If suppose I am going to remove this curly braces, then that string are going to be display A as it is. Okay, that will not be considered to be any variable. Now you can see here. Here A is coming as a 8. Okay, it means that if any value you want to display, which is taken from the variable, that should be written into the curly braces. Okay, so this is the other way of doing the formatting of the output in the appropriate manner, which we are expected during the display. So wherever you want, if you, it will be comfortable to use the string dot format, you can use method, or if it will be comfortable with the F string, you can go with the F string. But mostly F string is going to become one of the better and more convenient way to display the variable at the appropriate place within a string which we want to display as the outcome. Hope these two concepts were clear for the formatted output. If you have any query, you can ask. Okay, fine. So these are the different function, different way by which we can define the function, and different type of argument which you can able to give to the functions. Okay, so most of the examples have been covered, and few of the examples I can also share with you. You can able to type at your end, and you can see how they are going to be performing. Okay, so this is the same example I talked with you. Okay, fine. But one important concept I want to emphasize, which is going to be not followed by us. Suppose we are going to be give some argument in a function. Suppose we have been taken one of the function, any function which are defined. Maybe this foo was defined, the definition, foo was defined as a x comma y, x, y, z. Okay. If I am going to call this function, we have to give all the argument. It means we have to give the foo 3, 4, 5. If we are missing 2, 3, and 4, so this will going to give me the error. That is not the correct way of calling the function. It means we have to give all the argument as a positional argument. Position are going to change of this argument. Maybe this is going to become a 4, 6, 8. So 4 will become as to the x. And if we are going to give the argument as a keyword argument, so how we are giving as a keyword argument? Either I can able to give foo, say and giving first as a positional argument, then we are giving as a, say, if you are going to x equal to 4 and y equal to 5. It means second and third argument we are giving as a keyword argument. Okay. Or I can able to give it as a 2, 3, 4, and last argument I am giving as a keyword argument. Or I can give all the argument as a keyword argument. X equal to 3, y equal to 4, sorry, z equal to 5. Okay. That is also okay. But in case we are going to be intermix the keyword as well as the positional argument, in that case, it is not going to be allowed by the Python. It means if you are trying to give here as a first we are giving the keyword argument and then we are giving one of the positional argument without any name, and then again we are going to give this as a positional as a keyword argument. So this will going to give you the error. Okay. It means intermixing will not going to be allowed. Here it is again as a positional, then keyword, then. But here in case we are going to give as a keyword and then we are going to be give the positional. Okay, then that is going to be supported. Okay, so these things you have to remember when given and what order it should be given there. Okay. If you have any query, you can ask regarding the function. So these code I will share with you where some few more examples what was written which you can go through. No, tomorrow Sunday is off. Sunday there is no class. We will resume the session on Monday. Sunday is holiday. यहाँ का वीडियो बंद करना है, लाइव स्ट्रीम ये रिकॉर्डिंग यहाँ तो बंद कर, ये चलने दो, नॉट प्रॉब्लम. Okay, so everyone are able to access the LMS